Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. As you guys know, my name is Nayab and I blog with the name Noon Memes. First of all, thank you so much, WOWPK, for having me here. So today's topic of blogging is blogging basics. And but before I start, I just want to say two things. One is that I live in Australia and it is 11 p.m. here, so it's night time. So if you see me yawning, please ignore that because, you know, I'm tired. And the other thing is that if you have any questions, please keep writing them down and I'll get to them at the end of the presentation, inshallah. So let's begin. So the topic is blogging basics. And what I have designed for you today is, like, I want to talk about some of the concepts that are generally talked about in the blogging world. And I have listed them down here. And besides that, I would like to take you guys through case studies of 5 blogs, including my own, just to understand how these concepts actually apply to real life blogs. So these will be Instagram blogs, and you will see how these, and I actually asked these bloggers questions regarding the different concepts, and so it's based on their answers. So the first question that everybody has when they start blogging is that I want to become a blogger, but I don't know where to start, help. So that is where we are starting today from. So in my opinion, the first thing in everything you do really, but just talking about blogging at the moment, is the intent. Why do you want to be a blogger? Do you want to do it as a business? Do you want to do it as a hobby? Or you already have a business, but you want to have a social media presence to kind of promote that business. So identifying your intent will give you clarity, and the goal will determine your mindset, and that will really tell you what success looks like for you. And I really want to stress this point because as you guys know, social media is very saturated, the blog sphere is very saturated, and it becomes very easy for people to get disheartened and discouraged when they see how well everybody else is doing, because it's so visual. We can see the number of likes on people's posts, and we can see how much they have, like the kind of following they have. So it gets quite demotivating for people if they are not doing the same as other people. So I think it is very, very important that you should have a criteria for your own success. You should be like that, that horse with the blinders on. You should really be just focused on your own content, and you should have goals for your own blog. Like, for example, in like 1 year, I want to be there, and in 2 years, I want to be doing this and that. But focus on your own self and don't compare yourself with anyone else. And be very clear of your intent when you start blogging. The next thing is the platform. Platform is basically, do you want to blog on a website? Do you want a Facebook page, Instagram, business account, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube? There are so many channels now to share your content. Each platform obviously has different features and different requirements. So whatever you are willing to offer, you should choose your platform accordingly. One thing that I've understood over time is that if you are a business or if you have a brand, it's always better if you're present on different social media platforms, because what it does is that it exposes your brand to all these different target audiences. However, if all you really want to do is just have it as a hobby, you can just have one platform, and that's perfectly fine. The only setback I would say is that with these third-party platforms like Instagram and Facebook, you can lose your blog if, for example, Instagram decides to delete my blog tonight. I can't really do anything about it. I will lose my content, I will lose my following and everything. Whereas if I have a website which is self-hosted, then I can't, like, nobody can actually take that away from me, So if you're a business, I highly recommend, if you want to do this professionally, always have a website, so you have something, in your hand in terms of your blog. So this is just an example of where I was talking about the intent of blogging. So it determines what kind of blog you will have. For example, this is the same creator. This is Anam from The Inspired Accountant. And on on this side, you can see this is her personal blog. So you can see it has a very casual feel to it. Whereas on the other side is her business account, My Inspired Home, which the visuals are very well curated, and you can see like it looks like a very formal blog. So the kind of blog that you will have will be again based on the intent that you are blogging for. For a business, always go for a professional feed, and for a more personal, hobby-oriented blog, you can go for a more casual feel. Then the next thing is niche. Now, this term you will hear quite often in the blogging world, and it is basically what are you offering? Okay, so now the thing is, social media is very, very saturated. There are thousands and thousands of bloggers. So if you want to stand out, it is best that you start by having a specific niche. Having a niche basically helps bring focus to a hyper-specific topic, which makes you the go-to expert for that particular thing. For example, if you are a food blogger who only specializes in, let's say, Pakistani recipes, so when people want to try a Pakistani recipe, they will just go to you rather than trying to search it everywhere. So that's what I mean. Like, if you have a specific niche, then there is a more chance that people will follow you and they will go to your blog and they will interact with your blog. The other advantage is that if you have a niche, a specific niche, it also shows brands what you are about. So for example, if your niche is, let's say, again, food blogging, then obviously the makeup brands are not going to approach you. So and then the food brands will approach you. So it makes it very clear for the brands as well what you're about. So I highly recommend that go niche. Like, I have a very specific niche of humorous posts, and it also intercept with some reflections and some spirituality, but mostly humor. And I think it has always worked in my favor. So yeah. Okay, so just two quick examples. On this side is a blog called Fakiha, and she's basically all about Quran journaling, and she's about Arabic courses and everything. And you can see clearly from her blog that is what she's about. So clear visuals, and her bio and description, everything is dead on niche. And on the other side, we have Butter Over Babe Wajiha. She talks about Pakistani recipes. That's what her feed looks like. That's what her bio says. So again, going niche. Okay, so after that, we talk about target audience. Now, this is something very important and something I think most of us don't really consider when we are creating content. So the thing is basically, who is your reader and how does your content answer their need? So people will only be attracted towards your need if it answers something for them, if it offers them something. Yeah. For example, I know the audience that I have come to my blog to read something funny or something that makes them think. If I start, let's say, posting about politics, for example, they will not like it because that's not why they followed me. So you should have an understanding of your target audience when you're writing or when you're blogging, and that will really help you grow. Now, you might ask, how do I know who's my target audience? So there are different ways of understanding your audience. One is to study post insights, which is something I'll tell you when we come to insights. But other things you might do is you can do polls and surveys on your pages or on your Insta stories, just to ask them what kind of content they like. So you might already be producing some content and you can ask them, maybe which post that they really liked or something like that. You can have conversation starters to give audience a chance to share something about themselves. So that will tell you a lot about your audience. You can give them a chance to share their opinions on your posts as well. So all these things will kind of help you understand how the mind of your audience works. And it will definitely help you when you're producing your content, because you will understand your reader. And speaking of content, we come to content. Okay, content, of course, it can be written content, it can be videos, it can be all sorts of content. I'm just going to talk mostly about written content because that's the kind of blogging most people do. So even within written content, again, the question arrives, like, why would people read you? What is so unique about your content? So we call it the point of difference. Like, what is that special thing about your content that makes people want to go back and read your blog? Again, in the saturated environment of blogging, it is very important that you have a clear voice. And if you have a point of difference, you will see, again, a quick growth for yourself. Whereas if you are kind of similar to everybody else, then you will find you will struggle. Like, for example, a lot of times I see blogs and I see the description of their blogs as, for example, mother, a journey of motherhood and sharing my unfiltered life. Like, this is the most typical bio I have read of every other blogger. And that is the problem. Even if their content is great, a lot of people won't go past that because they sound like everybody else. So you really have to stand out, and you really have to market yourself better. So you should have a point of difference. Then we come to relevance, like how relevant is the content to your audience? And I think that is a very important factor in growth, because the more relevant it is to people, the more they will talk about it, the more they will share it with their friends and family, and the more it gets shared, the more visibility there will be for your own blog. Like, personally, I struggle with this part of blogging because all of my stories are personal stories. And although people might find it funny, a lot of people might not personally relate to it. So it doesn't get shared as often as, for example, somebody writing about, feminism, or somebody writing about motherhood and, those things. So if you're writing about topics which are relevant to your audience, there's a good chance that you'll grow much, much quicker. So if you want to be successful in blogging, please do consider that. Then, of course, topic and readability. Again, when choosing a topic, a lot of smart bloggers consider the target audience. They consider the what's on trend, what is happening in the world, and when they talk about it, there's a good chance that a lot of it gets shared around. But even so, even if you're writing great content, if you're not making it readable, your content will suffer. And by readability, I mean that you make it, easy on the eyes, easy for reading, break it into paragraphs. Don't just like long, like essay kind of things, because chances are nobody's going to read that. You know how quick social media is. We're just kind of scrolling through, right? So it should have a quick impact. Give it a title, give it a bold, big thing, so people stop and they actually, go through your content. Yeah, that's basically it for content. Now we come to visuals. Do visuals matter on social media? This is one of the questions that's most often asked. Yes, they do matter on social media. Social media is a visual platform. You cannot ignore the fact that it is all about visuals. Research proves visuals get far more engagement and far more attention. And that is why a lot of the bloggers put their own photos out there, because it is more attractive. People relate to it easier. So yes, visuals are important. Think about it like this. Like, for example, if you're working on radio and you say, you know what, I have great content and I want to work on radio, but I don't want to talk. I want to show visuals. So imagine, like, you are on radio and you're showing visuals. Does that actually make sense? No, because radio is an audio platform. So you have to have audio content, right? So social media is a visual platform. So you have to have visual content. Again, it's not like you have to have a very, very high end professional kind of visuals. It should just not be the kind of photos that you're just kind of randomly taking. You should put some thought and some effort in the visuals that you're putting out there. There are a lot of things people do for great visuals, like things like using select colors and palettes, having a distinctive style, using similar fonts, using things called presets, which are kind of these presets of filters that you apply to every photo, and it kind of gives it the same feel. There are social media apps for creating and editing visuals. There's Canva, Over, Facetune, Lightroom. These are just the ones that I use, so I've put them there. You can just Google it and you'll find so many more. For example, just to make this presentation, instead of using PowerPoint, I used Canva because, I was like, it will give me different set of visuals, more attractive, more pro social media, really. So here I have just put an example of With Love Leena's blog. She's a very famous modest fashion blogger. And as you can see, like when she started, her visuals were very much like my visuals are right now. So just regular photos of herself and, just all of that. But as she has grown, she has made a whole distinctive style and color palette for herself. And these are basically her brand colors now. So anybody who sees these photos will automatically, who of course follows social media, automatically can tell that this must be With Love Leena. So she has a very distinct color palette and style now. Okay, then we come to insights. What are insights? Insights are basically the data that's collected over time, and you can use that data to understand and learn about your account's performance, right? So I have just placed a screenshot here of one of my best posts, of course. And so what I'm trying to show you here is that this is something that is available. This, by the way, is from Instagram, and these insights are available to you only if you have a business account. So it won't be there if you just have a regular account. And the funny story is, for the whole first year of me blogging on Instagram, I did not have a business account because I didn't know that you're supposed to have a business account. And so I had no understanding and no idea of what insights were. And thank God, my friend told me one day, she asked me about my insights, and I was like, what is insights? And yeah, so that's when I learned, and I thought I'll let you guys know so you don't do what I did. All right, so in the insights, you learn quite a lot of things, actually. As you can see, I'll just take you quickly. So for example, as you can see, the heart shows that around 1,000 people liked my post. Around 300 commented, 700 shared, and 300 saved, for example. So if you see just these things, you might think, okay, only say around 1,000 people saw my blog, my post. But when you actually go into the data, you find that actually the number of accounts that were reached were around 8,000, and the people who have actually viewed my content is around 10,000. So a lot of social media users are passive users. So you won't really know exactly how many people your content is reaching unless you can see the insights. And that gives you an understanding of what is doing, how your post is doing. The other thing that you can calculate with your insights is the audience engagement. And these are the things that brands will ask you for most often when they want to work with you. Because these are the things that tell them how your blog does, in numbers. So audience engagement, for example, is how the public interacts with the content that you publish. There are different formulas to calculate that. One of them is you add your likes and comments for each post, and you divide it by your number of followers and whatever percentage, and you multiply it by 100, which I forgot to put. But whatever percentage comes, that is that's your audience engagement percentage. And then I found this chart on the internet which tells us what is good audience engagement and what is not. So I'm personally in the 5K to 20K following. And so for me, if the audience engagement on each of my posts is around 2.5%, then I'm good. Then I have a good audience engagement. So that doing these things can tell you how your content is doing, even if you don't clearly see it from what's apparent to you. The other thing that insights give you is an understanding and information about your target audience, which I mentioned before. So as you can see, the target audience for me is women. 93% are women, 7.1% are men, and I don't know who these men are because no man interacts with my post, but anyway, there are 7.1% men. And then it also tells me the most active times for when my audience is, using social media. So I can use that information to post at that time, because then it will be much better received, as opposed to posting it at a time when my audience is not really using social media. And again, the age range as well. As you can see, if I start writing content for like a younger audience, my audience will not receive it well, because I don't have that audience. Then one of the most commonly asked question is about monetization when it comes to blogging. Now, the thing to understand about monetization is that blogging is like any other business. So the first few months and even years is investment in your blog. So you will be doing it for free. You will be investing your time and effort into it, and but you're doing that to gain an audience and to gain a following. And once you have a good, sizable, genuine audience, that is when you start earning from your blog. And that is when brands start approaching you, because they see that you have a platform that can benefit them. So so that is something to really keep in mind, that it's not going to happen like, very soon. You won't start earning from it soon, because you need that time to establish yourself. So once you feel like you have acquired a good audience, you should really have a media kit. A media kit is kind of like a CV, or rather, I would say it's kind of like a brochure that kind of tells people about your blog. It tells them what kind of products and services you offer, and how much do you charge per post. And, for example, do you make videos? Do you do Insta stories, shout outs, and whatever? And how much do you charge for it? So that's a media kit. You can search online, just Google it. You will find a lot of examples. Social media apps like Canva also have a lot of templates available for media kits. So I made mine on Canva. I just used a template and I kind of tweaked it to my, my need. Then you can make money when brands approach you, which is the most common way. Brands do start approaching you when they see that you have a genuine audience. And I keep saying genuine because a lot of people make the mistake of buying fake followers, and then they have no audience engagement on their platforms. And then obviously, even though their numbers are great, it looks like they have like a 10,000 following, but when they post something, there's only like really one comment, and that's probably by their husband or, mom or somebody. So yeah, so you should really not get into those things. Get a genuine audience, and then, brands will start approaching you. A lot of times you might approach brands as well. When you feel like you're established enough, and you feel like the product of the brand kind of goes well with your niche, you might approach them. I have approached like 1 or 2 small businesses myself, and only because I knew that if I was to promote their businesses, it will benefit them and myself, and that is why they agreed to it as well, because obviously it was for their benefit as well. So you might do that as well, but you should really evaluate the kind of businesses or the brands to approach. Then a lot of people offer PR packages. You must have heard the term. They send you things and then you review it and stuff. But most bloggers will tell you to always have a fee attached to the PR package. And the reason is, like, a lot of times what happens, for example, if I charge like $50 for one post, but the PR package that I've received is only worth $15, then I'm losing all that extra money. If I don't charge a fee for it, So I only get like a product for $15, whereas I would have earned $35 more if I would have charged a fee for it. So I hope that makes sense. Anyway, so some other things are using influencer marketing agencies. So there are apps, which are the marketing agencies, and you can be connected to brands through those apps. I have personally used Tribe, but I think that's only available for Australia and UK. There are others as well. I know of Social Soup. there are more. You can just Google it and see if there are any in your area. Besides apps, there are also agents that people work with. I have never worked with an agent, so I can't tell you more about it, but it's definitely out there, so you can look it up. A lot of brands, mostly smaller brands, also offer you to become an ambassador. So basically you promote them and then you earn a commission if somebody buys those products. So you can become a brand ambassador, and then affiliate links and AdSense are for websites. I'm not that familiar with it, but it's mostly like if you have a link of some brand on your website, and if people click it, then you earn a commission or something. So that's another way of monetizing. So lots of different things. I just wanted to put them out there, and you can do your own research to learn more about it. But yeah, basically that's that. Now, another thing a lot of people ask is that how do we grow our blog? Again, as I said, there are a lot of factors that affect your growth. So some of the things I've just put out there that help people with growth, and these could be for Instagram, for example, if you use the relevant hashtags. Now, the thing with hashtags is that hashtags basically allow your content to be visible to people who are not following you yet. So for example, if there's a popular hashtag, for example, if there's like hashtag Pakistan or Pakistani bloggers, right? A lot of times people follow hashtags. So besides following people, you can also follow hashtags. So if somebody is following Pakistani bloggers and you use that hashtag in your post, what will happen is that your post will become visible to them because they're following that hashtag. And even though they don't follow you yet, they will see your post, and there's a chance that they will probably follow you or read it or something. So basically you become visible to them. So that is why people really think about using the more popular hashtags that might make them more visible to people. Other things are if you tag brands and you tag locations, again, people follow brands and locations, and you might attract attention towards yourself by putting those tags on your content. If you're consistent in posting, and that seems to be the thing, the more consistent you are, the more your content is visible to people, and the more your chances of growth are. So a lot of people have set days for posting, and they just follow that. At the moment, I normally don't have set days, but at the moment I'm doing a series, and I post on Thursdays. And so over time, I know that people expect me to post on Thursdays, and even if they don't see my post, they go looking for it. So that is what we're talking about. Like, people expect something from you, and then they try to find it. So that's always a good thing for you. There is promotion through ads, Facebook, Instagram. You can promote by paying for advertisement. Things like writing guest posts for other blogs. So I have done it sometimes myself. Like if I write for somebody else and they feature it on their blog, then my content becomes visible to their audience. Insta stories or Facebook stories, if you interact with your audience on a regular basis on stories, again, more chances of audience engagement, more chances of growth. Engaging with audience and your peers, excuse me. So other bloggers, engaging with them also really helps. I am really bad at that, but it does help other people. And if you stay on trend and you post on trending topics, again, because when things are trending, they get shared a lot. So there is a chance of your content being more visible to people. And the last thing is call to action. Call to action is basically a way of making people interact with your post. For example, I just spoke about the series that I'm doing. So at the end of every post in that series, I have a fixed line that if you enjoyed this post or if you enjoyed this experiment, because I'm doing experiments, try it now or save it for later. And just by putting that line there, I know a lot of people end up saving it, even if they were not thinking of saving it before. They just because I said it, so they automatically just hit the save button. So that's why you see a lot of people say, if you like this, share it or tap or tap the heart or something. So you kind of encourage people to interact with your post, because you know the more they interact with your post, the better your audience engagement and insights are. And you know, you have a better outcome to show to brands, you know, when you work with them. Okay, and the last thing is networking. So different ways of networking. You can collaborate with other bloggers on story hops. You can do guest posts for them. You can write on their hashtags. This is something that a lot of people are doing nowadays. They have a specific hashtag going and they invite other bloggers to write on that hashtag. And excuse me, and that way, they get exposed to new audience and the other bloggers get exposed to new audience. So it's a win-win situation for everyone. Then engaging with other people's content, you comment on it, you like it, you share it on your stories. A lot of people do that and it really works wonders for them. And then there's something called cross promote, where people follow. If you follow them, if you give them a shout out, they give you a shout out, and you know, all these things. I personally have serious issues with that kind of promotion, but people do it all the time and it works for them. And yeah, there's nothing wrong with it really. Yeah, so all these different ways of networking is very, very important in blogging. The more you network, the more you are visible to other people, and the more you will grow.